I am a man of morals. I look for morality. I am a moral person. Chances are, someone who says that is a piece of shit. Let me explain to you why morality is not human decency. Morality codes behaviour that have been codified generally by religion. If not by religion, but by cultural control systems such as being respectable in order to move ahead in society. Morality is almost certainly, though, comes from religion. So therefore, in terms of someone being a moral person, is not the same thing as human decency. Human decency is when you know inherently or innately that something is either right or wrong, hurting or damaging. People involved in Abrahamic religions and in cults don't understand, for the most part, that morality and human decency are two different things. For instance, you can absolutely hate Jesus Christ, you can despise the Bible, you can hate Christianity, and still be an incredibly decent and good person. A Christian person does not understand that because they're bound by morals. Their behaviour and their feelings towards others and the world are expressed through a thing called morality, which is not the same thing as human decency. So therefore you have these ideas of these crazy Christian fundamentalists who say things like, if it wasn't for the Bible, we wouldn't know how to behave to be good to each other. That's true in terms of morals, but a normal, sane, intelligent, cognitive and compassionate person doesn't need the guidance of a fictional Jehovah or a fictional Jesus Christ in order to be a decent person. That comes innately. The law of the jungle is probably more decent than the morally bound laws of the Abrahamic religions or a cult. So for instance, say you're a dead-eyed member of a cult, practicing the method of the way, some Gurdjieffian death cult, waiting for a comment, my queen, right? One of those types. You have the morals of the cult. Therefore, anything the cult leader tells you is evil, like jokes and comedy, or having a laugh with your mates and taking a piss is psychopathic. The cult member, having no mind of their own, practices morals. This must be true. Where a decent person goes, it's just a joke. But they made fun of Jesus Christ. So what? Who cares? See, this is where it comes from. Now, morals is also a major part of cultural Marxism. So, for instance, some of the most evil people in the world are terribly concerned about racism, terribly concerned about being homophobic or being insensitive to women, and they are some of the most devious and miserable pieces of shit that ever walked the face of the earth. Where there are women and men who go around who don't particularly think about this stuff, may laugh at what we call a sexist or an ethnic joke, and they're often much more decent people than the ones who are bound by the conventions of morality, either being in Abrahamic religions, either being in a cult, or even being in cultural Marxism. And this is a huge problem in this so-called alternative movement. There's so many Christians who don't know they're Christians. I heard a radio show the other day that literally made me want to throw my fucking laptop out the window. It was two so-called experts on the occult in alt media, basically talking about how pagan holidays are satanic and the season of sacrifice. Now, this all began particularly with the US Bible Belt, and the Bible Belt and all these right-wing, extreme right-wing, real right-wing neo-Nazis groups in the American Bible Belt, like the Posse Comitatus, and all these groups that in the 1970s who invented what is basically they call the truth movement today. It was brought to Europe by the likes of David Icke and people like that, who continued on this kind of like folk Christian mentality that like anything that wasn't Christian was human sacrifice and satanic, right? That kind of thing. And this is the disease of the alt media and people who call themselves awake intruders. They're just morons. They don't read anything. It's the saints in a sacrifice. He said it's about... It's not. These are pagan holidays. Also, in terms of sacrifice, let me explain to you what sacrifice means. Sacrifice just, they see, remember now, I'm not someone who does an alt media radio show to get money to buy skunkweed. Remember that. I'm not even a researcher. I'm a scholar. I go to libraries, I visit sites, I do research in terms of engaging and not watching a YouTube video of some previous generation of so-called, enlightened teachers and repeating them ad hoc because you don't want to kill the money supply from ignorant generations who are feeding your skunkweed habit. I'm not one of them. So you must understand that. I don't care about that you think that Beyonce is a satanic queen who is like some... I don't care. To me, she's just a tacky pop star. I actually know about the occult, not from a Christian point of view, but actually studying it for real. And see, so my engagement is completely different. So I don't give a shit what you think. I don't give a shit that you think it's a satanic all-seeing eye. I don't give a fuck. You're irrelevant to me because you're irrelevant to most of the world. Because you're ignorant. You're ignorant and you're unclean. You're unclean because your thoughts are from someone else and you haven't formulated them for yourself. Go check this stuff, okay? Sacrifice in terms of pagan religions, which you Christians genocided, by the way, and your Abrahamics in general, well, mainly the Muslims and the Christians, the Jews didn't do it, but genocided for the most part. Well, sacrifice means giving up something. So therefore, alms to the poor. Alms is money, by the way, charity. Maybe stop drinking, or eating sweets, like Catholics do at Lent. That comes from the idea of sacrifice. It doesn't mean killing someone. That's the movies that do that. The greatest sacrifices of all are the Christians, because they've killed God knows how many people in Christian wars in Europe alone. And also the Abrahamics, the Muslims and the Christians tearing each other to bits and then picking on the Jews every so often. That's human sacrifice on a colossal scale. Now, so don't talk to me about a few little, it's all satanic sacrifice. The real sacrifice are Christians. Remember that. All the pedophiles are Christians. All the pedophiles are Muslims and Christians and other Abrahamics. They're not people who are satanic or pagans or anything like that. It's Catholic priests and so on. And look at all these pedophile rings run by Muslims in the UK. That's the truth, okay? It's not satanic, it's Abrahamic. Now, I know many of you are stupid. In fact, you're so stupid that most of you probably do qualify for cognitive disability awareness. That's because you just watch a YouTube video and you take it as fact, and then you walk up to people and say, it's satanic Illuminati, and then they all laugh at you and you think they're sheeple. No, they're laughing at you because you're fucking stupid, okay? You didn't sit down, you didn't read the books, you didn't have the facts ready. And when you could walk up to people and say this and this, they will actually listen to you, rather than say, oh well, it's the shape of an all-seeing eye and it's blood and satanic. You look like a fucking fool, okay? And the same thing with morality and decency. The Nazis who killed the Jews had morality. The Puritans who killed the witches at Salem had morality. The jihadists who cut the heads off women who run away from their husbands have morality. The Muslims who throw gays off buildings have morality. The Jews who cut the tops of penises off little boys have morality. What they don't have is human decency, and that's the difference.